Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit. We're going to do the review of Sunday and give you a preview of the two games tonight on Monday night. The two games. I think they're bracing us because I think moving forward, they're going to do a lot more of this.
Yeah, I'm not keen on the two games on a Monday night.
How are you going to feel when they start doing? How are you going to feel when they start doing Tuesday night football?
I don't hate. I don't mind the idea of having like one game, but when it's two, so you can't get both. That's really annoying.
If they would have spread them out, right, and it would be late for a lot of East Coast people, and we're not going to talk about you because you're on the other side of the world. But
yeah, we don't count. There's no need to count us in that statistic.
It would be all right if I could watch both games, but you're right, we're not.
Yeah, exactly. That's what doesn't make sense here. Hey Riley, good to see you back, man. Yeah, it doesn't make sense having the two games at the same time to me when you can have Tuesday night football. Just have Tuesday night football. That would make way more sense.
I mean, I'm all for Tuesday, Tuesday, and throw Wednesday in there too. I'm good with all that.
I'll take football every day of the week. Like, you know us, we'll take it every day of the week. But I do like as many games on Red Zone Sundays as possible. It was nice to sit down and watch Red Zone for the before the Cowboys game this week. So I'm a Red Zone fan.
I fucking hate Red Zone. It's so funny that you like it. I fucking hate it.
I love it. I think Scott Hansen might be one of the most talented sports broadcasters I've ever seen. The guy's amazing. I haven't got any storms near me. I don't know if that's storms near you or something.
Well, let everybody know where you are since you look like you're about to do a beheading in your video.
I'm in Glasgow I'm in Glasgow in a hotel room, so that hence why this sheet is up behind me as to not give away what's behind there. Yeah. Just traveling around, Glasgow, Scotland this time. All right.
He's there for his annual IRA meeting.
That's Ireland, man. I mean, but the Scots.
They let the Scottish into the IRA. Let's not pretend they don't. Like, there are Scots in the IRA. Like,
yeah. Oh no, didn't see any of that.
Maddie tried to act like the Scots weren't part of the Irish Republican Army. Now, I don't want to get into a whole deep history lesson, but since the treaty with the IRA and the governments, that's pretty much now just like an organized crime syndicate, isn't it?
Yeah. The IRA. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I don't like to being with the accent that I have being English. I don't love to comment on like the.
Okay, well, I'm American, and from what I understand, and you don't have to say shit, they're more like the mob now than they were revolutionary resistance. But okay.
Yeah, it's just something that we try not to comment on too much because you never know what side people are on.
You don't want me to say when they bless themselves with the blood of Jesus to kill for Christ?
Whatever.
Oh, I was just okay. I don't live anywhere near them. I'm not worried. Like, they're like fictional characters to me, like. And if Maddie's not here next week, we know why.
Yeah, I've disappeared behind this sheet. That's the problem. Yeah.
You do the Homer Simpson right back through the sheet.
Right back through the fence. Yeah.
All right, I'll stop shitting on people and get to football. Exciting weekend though. Football. There were some good games.
Yeah, a lot of good close games. A lot of really close games. Actually, was a really fun weekend of football. A few surprises, I would say, maybe surprises in how close the games were rather than the results in a lot of these games.
Okay, the Commander surprised me. I won't lie, but it wasn't the biggest surprise in the world. But the Giants making a comeback against the two worst teams in the NFL playing, that was a little surprising. But by the point spread, if you took Arizona, I took the money line, so I'm not taking credit. But if you took Arizona, you'd have won that game with the point spread.
Yeah, there's also the Rams keeping it close against the 49ers for large parts of the game. I think the Rams are better than we give them credit for. I mean, the Falcons beating the Packers. I mean, that's a pretty pretty surprising game, I guess. How low scoring it was with the Chiefs and Jags as well, and then how high scoring it was between the Colts and the Texans. What was that all about?
I don't know, but I know that I'm going to screw his name up for most of the year, and I'll get it sooner or later. Nakanis, whatever, from the Rams.
Nikhil?
Whatever. That fucking kid is balling, bro. Straight balling.
Guy's a beast.
Yeah, I just got to give him a shout out. Like the kid is balling. I will get your name by the end of the year. Don't worry. My bad. It took me a whole season to get down Giannis Antetokounmpo, so just give me a minute. I'll get there.
Yeah, also, Kyren Williams is an absolute fantasy god. I think he was like, I ended up auto-drafting him the last pick of the draft, and I kind of looked into holding him. He'll be playing for me next week.
Yes.
The Rams have got something going now, man.
Okay, Maddie, can we both agree, though, that the Giants fucking blow now?
I mean, comeback win. Yeah, they blow, man.
Okay. I was wrong when I picked the Cardinals. I can admit that. But even in the loss, I feel like it kind of proved my point. Like, I don't think the Giants are good.
Yeah, I never said the Giants were great. I just didn't expect them to be this.
In our group chat, I give Maddie a lot of shit, so I think he feels the need to defend himself right now.
With the Giants, I said that they were going to they're definitely going to take a step back this year, and I don't think anybody expected it to be kind of this big of a step back. But they don't have an offensive line. They haven't had one really great offensive line for years. The quarterback is getting paid top 10 money and is nowhere near the top 10. And Saquon Barkley is
top 10 now.
40 mil, yeah.
Well, Cousins is rated like 14th or 15th, so that's why I was wondering. Like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and then you have Saquon Barkley, who's franchise tag, who's the only good thing that they made a deal for him, didn't they?
They gave an extra $1 million. They gave him an extra $1 million and then a couple more incentives, which okay.
Yeah, and
isn't he hurt though?
Yeah, and he got hurt. Yeah, he got hurt during the Cardinals game.
And he was their whole fucking team.
Yeah, and
yesterday.
It's everybody goes like, oh, Saquon Barkley this, Saquon Barkley that, but the guy hasn't played a season fully fit since his first season in the NFL. So people saying, oh, if he just stays fit, but we know he doesn't stay fit. So can we stop saying if somebody just does this, if somebody just does that, when we have so much evidence that they're not going to do that? It's like if the 49ers stay fit, we know the 49ers don't stay fit. We know that they're still good even when they're injured, but like we know that they don't stay fit. So don't expect them to be fit all the way through the season. Same with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, with the Niners, it's who gets hurt and when, but how bad it hurts. But with the Giants, they're one of the few teams who had a decent running game going this season too, because a lot of football, those running games are getting smashed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I forget his name. I texted you last night, but we can get to it later. But shout out to your backup running back. I think that kid has potential to be your starter at some point.
Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah.
Deuce Vaughn, electric. Or Dowdle is actually the backup running back who also looked very, very good.
Vaughn is
going into this week.
Fast and fucking quick at the same time. Like we always say there's a difference between quick and fast, and he's both.
Yeah. Deuce Vaughn is 5'5". Like,
how long has he been in the league? I never even heard of the fucking.
So he got drafted this year. Okay. His father is one of the scouts for the Dallas Cowboys.
I heard that was an awesome story, right? Like, because they were in tears and that kind of thing. Very awesome moment. But I'd never even heard of the fucking kid. And I watch a lot of college football too, so I'm not even sure where he played. But
the Cowboys have been very excited about him all this year, and you can see why. The guy's kind of just
and absolutely it wasn't a shot at Pollard, but I was like, this kid looks like he could be better than Pollard.
Pollard has looked surprisingly uninspiring so far this season.
fucking ankle coming off. Like,
and
no,
still run for like I think he ran for 100 yards in the first game and 80 yards in like last week's game. So it's not what you're used to seeing from Pollard, but he's doing the thing that we didn't expect him to be able to do, which is making those yards. Just a final thing on the Giants as well. Why is Daniel Jones not part of their running game as much so far this year? What's going on with that?
I'm glad you brought that up because I completely spaced it, but I did think to myself yesterday, are they afraid of getting him hurt now that they paid him?
Yeah,
or is Daboll trying to
then you
make
just
him
take
more of
away
a pocket passer? And I'm not comparing them, guys. Don't kill me for this, because it's almost bad to say this, but use him like you used Josh Allen when you were with the Bills, Daboll.
Yeah, 100%. I think Daniel Jones, smart kid, went to Duke, excellent running potential, has never really had any wide receiver weapons that are any good. Kenny Golladay was his best weapon, and the Cowboys scored more. The Cowboys defense scored more touchdowns in MetLife Stadium than Kenny Golladay did.
Now, minus his bad game this year, though, last year, Kadarius Toney looked great on the Chiefs.
Yeah, well, Kadarius Toney looked good for the Giants as well. He just got pissed off with the Giants. So
right, but I'm just saying, so he did have Kadarius Toney at one point.
Like, and when Kadarius Toney actually played, when they played against the Cowboys, those guys looked fucking great. So when he did have that weapon, so I don't want to bag on Daniel Jones too much, but if you take away the run game for Daniel Jones, you take away probably his greatest asset, which is how he's surprisingly quick as well. Like, what is he, 6'3" white guy streaking away from people? Well, like, he doesn't look very fast, but he's rapid. No.
Vanilla Vic.
Right. Okay. Yes, I could see that. So
yeah, that's
you can't take away him.
Like, I think fucking Michael Irvin or one of those guys started it, and then it just caught on. Like, he's Vanilla Vic. I just heard Darius Butler refer to him as that last week too.
Yeah. So you can't take the run game away from that. If you're too worried about getting him hurt, then you shouldn't have paid him $40 million, because the $40 million is down to him being able to run the fucking ball, and if he's not running the ball,
there's certain quarterbacks like I you don't want him to get hurt, but you're gonna run Jalen Hurts, you're gonna fucking run like
Lamar Jackson,
Murray's when he's healthy, like you're gonna run these guys, and Josh Allen even, but now you're gonna turn around with, out of everybody I just named, they're better than Daniel Jones, and you're gonna fucking not run him.
Yeah, the all the talk of Daniel Jones being a top 10 quarterback at the start of the year, I can't remember what. Was it Sims? I think Chris Sims had Daniel Jones in his top 10 above Dak and Kirk, I think.
Yeah, but I give him a pass because he is a Giants fan. His dad was a Giant. Like,
and at points last season you can see it, but only if he can run the ball, but they're not letting him run the ball. So what's the point in...
I was just giving him a pass for being a homer.
Yes. Okay. He can have a slight pass for being a homer.
We all do it at times, right? So
yeah, if I was getting paid, I'm not sure I would do it as much, but yes. Okay.
I think sometimes we're homers and don't realize it, because there's a lot of times I'll be like, am I just being a homer with this? Or, because I feel very strongly, but then as a Vikings fan, I'm like, am I not stepping away from this enough to see it clearly?
Yeah, I mean, we are saying this about Daniel Jones as well, and he threw 26 and 37 for 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So
he is a top 10 NFC East or NFC quarterback.
Yes, that's not the compliment it was a while ago, but yes, he is.
But I got to give a shout out.
He rushed for 59 yards as well.
I don't think Dobbs is a great quarterback, but I think he played very well for being in the bad situation he's in.
Josh Dobbs is kind of a grooving backup. Like, he's got a bit of Fitz magic in him. Obviously not to the same level as Fitz magic, but just like sometimes you just watch what he does. Sometimes you watch what he does and you just want to close your eyes. And then other times you just go, oh, holy. When he runs it with his rushing touchdown, when he runs that ball and you go, all right, okay. Yeah, Josh Dobbs, give us more of that.
Think about how bad this is for him. They literally signed you to get the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's working, but he's not done himself any disservice. Like,
no, I agree.
He's doing a good job with what he's got. And also, James Conner ran for 106 yards as well. So James Conner is still an excellent running back as well.
Yeah, it's the team. I thought about drafting him in our fantasy league, and I just stayed away because Arizona's team just scares me so bad with any team on their fantasy. That I really believe the Giants are going to be picking in the top 5 at the end at next year. I do. I really believe that.
Yep. I could see it now from watching that game. I could see it. But I mean, the Cardinals might be a little better than what we thought they were going to be, but not a lot.
And when I say the worst team in the league, let's be real, it's probably going to be the Houston Texans, but we expected that. So
I don't know. I like some of the pieces that the Houston Texans have got.
They're fucking Pierce is killing me in fantasy. He's just fucking killing me.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh, I think he had like less than 3 fucking points or something.
Yeah, this week in fantasy, I played against Mike Evans, who was the top wide receiver. No, the top scorer in all of fantasy. And I had the 5th highest scorer in all of fantasy. I sat on my bench in Nico Collins for the Texans. Because who expects Nico Collins to go and score 30 points?
Well, in my other league, I left Swift on the bench. So let's just not even.
I still think that was the right thing morally. That was
I told you it's the only reason I do it is I can't cheer for him to have a good game against my team. I just couldn't do it.
That was morally the correct thing to do.
All right. Well, you want to talk some Buccaneers Bears?
I'm not sure how much Buccaneers there is to talk about here. I think it's more how shit are the Bears. Oh, all right. How excellent is Michael Evans and how shit are the Bears? And I think I've had enough of Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields has never thrown for 300 yards. Never.
Yeah, I think I've had enough now. Because yeah, he's never thrown for 300 yards, but he's also run for 150, 200 in plenty of games and stuff like that.
So also last season is second in NFL history with the most interceptions in the 4th quarter.
Yeah. So he threw for 16 and 29, 211 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Whilst Baker Mayfield, who everybody's like, oh, he's not going to get a stiff and he's not going to get a sniff and everything like that. Baker Mayfield threw for 26 and 34 for 317 yards and 1 touchdown, including throwing to Mike Evans for 171 yards. So, yeah, I feel sorry for Justin Fields in the fact that he went to the Bears. I think he was cursed from the start, but I don't think he's helped himself at the start of this season. He seems to have regressed, especially in the passing game.
Yards per pass attempt, he's the 6th worst in NFL history with 12 games or more.
I look, I don't think they're using him entirely correctly, but at what point do we go, he can't be used in any other way than just running the ball? And you can't really, as a quarterback, you can't only run the ball. You have to be able to throw it at some point. As soon as the Bears go behind, they're fucked because Justin Fields can't throw the ball. And that's what it is. And whether it's he can't throw the ball in this scheme or anything, I feel like they don't give him a lot of. There's nothing easy in this Bears scheme when you look at it. There's no easy throws whatsoever.
Is it the scheme or does Justin Fields make it look hard?
Does he miss the reads on the easy throws? That's what I want to know. Look, I'm willing to ride with him again for parts of this year and stuff like that, but I'm done just sitting here defending him and saying, "Oh, he'll show you." Like I can't do it anymore. I think this could be it for him.
Why do you want to take my fun away? You're gonna quit.
Sorry, man. Sorry, I still think there is something in there for Justin Fields, right? And I'm not sure what the Chicago Bears do with that, and I don't know if the Chicago Bears have the right staff to be able to do anything with that. Now, surely coaching changes are happening in Chicago sometime soon, so let's see what happens after that. But he's awful.
And here's the thing: if he doesn't succeed as a starter, I don't think there's room for him as a backup anywhere.
No, because he gives you such explosive plays. It's like Cam Newton. You can't have Cam Newton as a backup anywhere.
You could turn him into Cordell Patterson if he'd be willing to do it.
Yeah, Taysom Hill as well. Tim Tebow, when he started
Taysom
playing
Hill
tight
might
end.
throw better than Justin Fields. Like,
I'm not sure about that, but
I'd
yeah,
have to
maybe.
go through the stats and look as a starter, but I don't think they'd be that far off. Like,
Yeah. Taysom Hill has also had Sean Payton as a coach, whereas Justin Fields has had Matt Eberflus. So I'm not keen on the. There's got to be coaching changes happening in Chicago sometime soon, right? Because they can't carry on like this. There's no way that they
is
can
there
carry on
though?
like this.
Because it's only a second year. Do they fire somebody that quick?
Yes, because there's been no improvements. There's been regression.
Does the GM admit that his first hire is wrong, though? Is kind of where,
Okay. Yes, when you bring egos into everything of GMs and coaches and all of that bullshit,
right.
and maybe not. But
I'm with
really,
you. Fire the fucker, but will they?
There is obviously nothing right happening. It's a defensive coach, and his team can't defend, and his defensive style is hampering anything that they try to get going offensively. Look at the Bears wide receiver core and have DJ Moore and Chase Claypool, and you go, do you know what? That's fucking shit hot.
And Mooney.
That's shit hot. And Mooney is your third option. That is shit hot.
At tight end.
Yeah, Cole Kmet at tight end, a good young tight end. There is no reason for that. So, all right, Justin Fields isn't getting the scheme right at all. He's not throwing the ball right at all. But when you have Justin Fields in the backfield as well, you should have so many options to play around with offensively. And whether you believe it's Justin Fields or not, they don't do anything creatively to fucking help him either. There is nothing creative. It's like when you watch the Pittsburgh Steelers with Matt Canada as the offensive coordinator. Like, there's nothing creative. They line up in exactly the same way. They don't do any motion, and they just... Yeah, I'd fire the whole staff and just start again, see what happens.
What they need to do, and they won't, is they need to run a style of offense that Baltimore ran for Lamar his first couple of years.
Yeah, that Greg Roman offense would do them loads and loads and loads of good. Again, they have... I'm just looking at the stats. They have 1 sack over 2 games to 10 sacks allowed. Like, the sacks allowed... So Justin Fields has been sacked 10 times in 2 games. Some of that's offensive line. Some of that is Justin Fields. He's too athletic to be getting sacked this much, and he just needs to learn to throw the fucking ball away sometimes as well. He holds onto it for way too long. But when you've built this defense and you're like, oh, yeah, we're the Chicago Bears, defense. We spend all of our free agency money on defense. And then you fucking get 1 sack in 2 games. What are they doing? What are they doing in Chicago? Sack everybody.
Well, Maddie, I do want to bring in a game that I didn't tell you we were going to talk about because I completely spaced it, just to get a little idea from you. Fun. The Lions-Seahawks game.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I want it to be said that I picked that game right because fuck the Lions. That's why, because fuck the Lions.
I mean, very high-scoring game. The Detroit Lions do have an offense.
You picked that game right too, so take your credit. Yeah. You picked it right too.
Thank you. Yep. But again, Pete Carroll's not going to let his team come out in that fashion, and that's what happened in this game. Geno Smith looked half decent again, so that's good. What's surprising is how high scoring the game is. I think in that was it 68 points that they've scored between the two of them is pretty crazy. In terms of the way they both play football as well.
Lions thing ever. Fuck, why did I forget his name? Montgomery's out for like a couple weeks now. They're the running back that they gave up their whole backfield to. Okay. But
yeah,
that's the most Lion shit ever.
After Swift has just popped off for the Eagles, and Jamal Williams is the perfect fall to I still haven't got their rookie's name down at all. What's rookie running back? Jameer Gibbs. Jameer Gibbs. Yeah.
I almost called him Joe Gibbs, the old coach for the Redskins.
He's Jamal Williams would have been the perfect foil, short downage, and then give everything exciting to Gibbs. They're also not putting Gibbs in the most exciting positions. Like when he's got the ball in hand, the guy looks fucking electric. So let's see if this just forces them to do more of that. It could be a blessing because Amon-Ra St. Brown is also now questionable going into the next game as well, which is a massive blow for them. But the Seahawks back on track, and Geno Smith looked like Geno Smith from the first 8 games of last season. 32 and 41, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, can't ask for much more than that from Geno.
Did you see the that the ref had to check Geno in the middle of the game and go, "I'm talking to America," because he kept yelling at him while he was like announcing something. So the ref's like, "I'm speaking to America."
Shut up, man. Yeah, pipe the fuck down. Shut up. Yeah. Also, again, the Seahawks wide receiver core never gets the love it deserves. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett is a fucking beast. I was watching the game with my dad, who loves American football, but isn't the most clued up on it. Doesn't have as much time to commit to it as obviously I do. And he just goes, every time I watch Tyler Lockett, he's doing something ridiculous. And like his diving finish into the end zone on top of the pylon. And it's just like, oh, right, okay, that's just Tyler Lockett being Tyler Lockett, and then DK Metcalf is just a monster. So the Seahawks are real when they can get good quarterback play, and every now and again, Geno looks like he gives good quarterback play, and at the moment, he's given probably 65 to 35% good to bad quarterback play over the past 2 seasons. So let's see how far they can go.
So, well, let's talk about some games that we had talked about. Let's go to that Titans Chargers game. Do the Chargers fire their coach mid-season? That's the question I have.
I'd fire him now. Yeah. This is the game that surprised me, because I said, I can't see why anything's close. It's just going to be an absolute blowout. When you're the Chargers and you have that talented a team, you can't lose to the Titans. I mean, the Titans have Derrick Henry, yes. Ryan Tannehill is a top 20 QB, maybe. D-Hop looked decent. D-Hop looked pretty good for them as well.
It's Vrabel.
Yes, obviously it's Vrabel. If the Chargers had Vrabel, that was a blowout. If the coaches were switched over, though, that's a total blowout. And that's final nail in the coffin for Brandon Staley. I didn't realize that Staley was a defensive coach. I thought he was an offensive coach. The defense has been awful for 3 years. So why is he still there? It makes no sense. Also,
Derwin James, and you can't figure it out. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. You've got Derwin James, you've got Joey Bosa, you've got Khalil Mack on the other side as well. You've got Asante Samuel, who's
Eric Kendricks,
really good. Eric Kendricks as well. Like, it's not like they don't have the players and all of their players are just on offense. Kellen Moore looks like he's doing all right, but actually, was Mike McCarthy kind of right? Does Kellen Moore dial up offense to kind of be champagne, score as many points, get as many yards as he wants, but it's not necessarily winning game football that he goes for? Could that also be part of it? Like, because he doesn't love to run the ball for long periods of the game, when this is kind of a game where it's like, if we're on the ball for longer than the Tennessee Titans, we're going to win this game. We need to, when your defense is that poor, he needs to learn to kind of make sure that the offense is staying on the field for long periods of time. So, okay, does Kellen Moore, is he a problem? Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe as well. They've also got the fact that they've got Kellen Moore means they've got a guy who I think is personally ready to step up into that head coaching role already in the building. So by sacking Brandon Staley now, just cut the losses. Just cut the losses now. Just get rid of him. And then you have Kellen Moore to step straight into that role, and you don't have as much disruption, especially not for Justin Herbert.
Yeah, it's just the Chargers should be better than they are, and that's my fucking problem with them. I even said it when we were picking the games. I don't trust the coaching, and I trust Vrabel, so I'm going with Tennessee. And that was it for me. It wasn't that, okay, if Austin Eckler's healthy, you go quarterbacks, Justin Herbert's better. You go running backs. Okay, Derrick Henry's probably better than Austin Eckler, but it's not a huge jump. You know what I mean?
And they're so totally different.
Right.
That's a
But
really
and then you
difficult
go through
comparison.
like they got receivers in San Diego. They got a defense, or they should. They have players, and they're not living up. Or I call them San Diego and LA. You're not living up to the fucking what you should be. Like you're so underperforming. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that the teams that are 0-2 at the minute, actually. So you've got the Chargers at 0-2, you've got the Vikings at 0-2, and you've got the Bengals at 0-2. Who else? That's probably about it in terms of those big three. Those big ones that are 0-2. Yeah. And you can see all of them still getting to the playoffs. I think this whole, the 10% thing in terms of 10% of the teams that go 0-2, I feel like that could be flipping a little bit.
And it helps the Vikings that the whole NFC North decided to lose this week.
Yeah, also the Vikings' schedule to start has not been lovely. It's not been a nice schedule.
We'll get to schedules too. I got a theory about that later, but we'll get to that too. Yeah, I don't know. I think that Brandon Staley's got to go, and that's just my whole takeaway from that game.
Yeah, and to all of you watching out there, if you think Brandon Staley has got to go, I think you should put #Staley out in the comments of the chat, which I don't like gunning for a guy to get fired, but they embarrassed me this Sunday. I was embarrassed. I was on the show beating the desk saying they're going to blow them out. I'm not happy. Not happy. I don't like being embarrassed. So #Staley out. Put it in the comments below.
Well, Maddie, how about them Dolphins?
Alabama Open. That's Mike McDaniels is the best offensive coach in the NFL at the moment. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, and we were talking about the tree the other day, right?
Yeah.
McDaniels, McVay,
Shanahan.
We forgot Kevin O'Connell. My coach. Kevin O'Connell in that tree too.
Yeah. So that tree is unbelievable. But is Mike McDaniels having the best of it so far this season? I mean, does he have the offensive talent compared to the others as well? I mean, but when you look at it compared to Shanahan, I mean, Tyreek Hill is the real outlier there. And when you have a scheme where just everybody's open, if you have the fastest guy to ever play football completely open, then that's just going to be game over. It's a cheat code. It's like just flicking around the stick on Madden when you're going in to be tackled. That's what Tyreek Hill looks like.
Well, even if you cover him, you've got to deal with Waddle. Yeah,
exactly. So then you've got Waddle on the other side. And then they have Shahid Ahmed. Is that his name? Looks fantastic as well. A third, and then Tua Tagovailoa, if he stays healthy, which that is a genuine if he stays healthy, because last season it was when you get one concussion, it's very difficult to then not get a few if you don't take a break. And that had the break, so therefore the concussion shouldn't be as easy to get now. But Tua looks like he could put up MVP statistics. I'm not saying he's gonna get the MVP, because if the Miami Dolphins player gets an MVP, it should be Tyreek Hill, because he's the reason that everybody's getting the statistics. But Tua will put up those stats, and the defense has some really nice pieces on it as well. This also shines a light on the Eagles' performance last week as well, where the Eagles were kept close by the Patriots, and we were kind of saying like, "Oh, are the Patriots back?" And that we were saying that they shouldn't be happy with just a moral win, really, but maybe they should have been, because maybe they're not that good. And the Eagles just really played down to the opposition, and the Dolphins.
Their defense called them out for that.
Yeah.
This week, the moral victory shit, their own defense called them out for that. So
good, and they should do. Yeah, and they should do. But I mean, they kept it close. Mac Jones doesn't look horrendous either, but the Dolphins are something else. They look like something else last year as well, where just the way that their offense is built, they just look different.
Well, speaking of a team that looks different than what I thought they would, is those Falcons, man. Those Falcons look different than I thought they would, but that's all on the back of Bijan Robinson. All on the back of him.
Yeah, I think we said that of Bijan Robinson, like everybody's crowning him as the next Adrian Peterson already, and I still don't think it's fair to crown him as the next Adrian Peterson after 2 games. But I mean, he's legitimately carrying this entire team. It's pretty fucking incredible. But then you also look at it, and their defense is playing up a lot further than what a lot of people were saying, and I think we do forget that American football, you can go from worst to first very quickly, and people still see the Falcons defense as that worst of all time defense from 2 years ago, whereas they're better than that now. They've got some really good players, especially in that secondary. But yeah, B. John Robinson's an absolute animal. And also Drake London can just go around mossing people, which is always going to help. Desmond Ridder is an old man and they need a new quarterback, is how I looked at that game. If Jordan Love was an Atlanta Falcon, that game wouldn't have even been close.
And the thing too is I don't like the comparison to Adrian Peterson because Robinson can actually catch. Peterson couldn't catch. But they and you know I'm a Jordan Love, like I like Jordan Love, but the praise he's getting is crazy too. I know he threw for 3 touchdowns, but he threw for 200 yards. And his completion percentage was shit. So I'm not sure like how to even feel about Jordan Love.
He threw for 151 yards on 3 touchdowns. Only made 14 completions in the entire game.
That's the thing I'm saying. Like I can't give him the praise that other people are giving him. 3 touchdowns is great, but you threw for $150, and I know you did what you had to do, but your completion percentage was shit.
Yeah, the Falcons also scored. The Falcons scored a field goal with 8 minutes left in the football game in the fourth quarter, and the Packers couldn't respond and get the ball down the field. And I know they were probably trying to run it down there, but Jordan Love missed on at least one third down conversion. I can't remember if they got a second one there. And then, so the Falcons outscored them in the fourth quarter, and the Packers just did nothing in that fourth quarter at all. So when it was coming to pass only downs, Jordan Love was missing, and you hesitated. Look, we're not going to blame him for him losing that game because the defense got gashed for 124 yards from Bijan Robinson, and then probably some more on top of that. Let me just have a look. Yeah, the defense got gashed for 200 yards on the ground. So you're always going to struggle when somebody's controlling the clock and controlling the run game that much to win the game. But let's just calm down on Jordan Love. However, I do think if Jordan Love was in the Atlanta Falcons, then that game wouldn't have even been close compared to Desmond Ridder on the other side. Yeah. Desmond Ridder is the massive weak spot in the Falcons. The Falcons could be not a contender for the Super Bowl, but you wouldn't want to see the Falcons in a playoff game. If the Falcons win the NFC South, you wouldn't want to see them in their building in a playoff game if they had a half decent quarterback. So say if they got Derek Carr and he didn't go to New Orleans during the preseason.
Yeah, they're a better team that people give them credit for, but their quarterback situation is not ideal.
Yeah, they could also do with being a bit more creative with what they're doing with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. When you have 2 people who are that fucking massive, like when you have those big bodies, you need to find the mismatches, and there's got to be mismatches out there for people who are that big, and they don't seem to find the mismatches that much in the passing game. But is that because they don't trust Desmond Ridder to throw a decent ball when it's both 2 big guys just going up for the ball, and Desmond Ridder can't get it into the right zone for Drake London to make those plays? Maybe that's the reason. Arthur Smith is a good and creative coach, so I'd be surprised if he isn't thinking of creative ways to get these guys the ball, and Desmond Ridder is the problem.
Well, let's move on to a game Maddie had to talk about because we were all going at it in our group chat, and I don't think he liked the fact that I said if Aaron Rodgers played that game, the Cowboys don't win, and I don't think he liked it. So the floor is yours, Maddie.
I just think the Cowboys have scored 70 points and have only conceded 10 in the first 2 games. And I know they've played the 2 New York teams, and one of the New York teams is with Zach Wilson. But let's remember that Zach Wilson beat the Bills in week 1. the comparison with Aaron Rodgers, I wasn't too bothered about it. It was the adamantness that you had, Jay, was the issue. It would have been a much closer game.
I believe it 100%. That's the thing.
It would have been a much closer game, but there was no showing from that Jets offensive line any ability to stop the Cowboys pass rush. And yes, Rodgers gets the ball out far quicker than anybody else. 2.2 seconds. Gets the ball out far quicker. Obviously. However, even if you're not getting the sacks there, a lot of that is throwaway. It's the most irritating thing it is to play Aaron Rodgers, and he fucking loves playing in that building in AT&T.
Check down. Check down for 6. Check down for 8. Check down for 15. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, and when you get him, you don't quite get the fucker as well. Like, he manages to flick the ball out while you're wrapped around the bottom of his legs. Bastard. But
I know.
Yeah. I think it haunts Cowboys and Vikings fans alike. Like, the Bears and the Lions have never been close enough for it to be a real issue. But, like, we've played him in the playoffs enough times where he's done that to us. However, that Jets offensive line, that was a mess. Like, that was a complete mismatch, the Jets offensive line and the Cowboys defensive line. Also, there were plenty of opportunities for the Cowboys to put more points on the board there, and they took the running option, the check down game. Let's not turn over the ball. Let's just make sure we're just winning this game.
Not turn over the ball. There was almost a pick six. There was almost another pick. And you guys, as Cowboy fans, what should worry you is when Dak misses, he's missing high, and that's where interceptions come from.
Yeah. Yes. Or he just made an absolutely fucking woeful read on that Sauce Gardner play. Just it wasn't a bad throw. It was just the complete wrong read. That's what worried me the most about that. Because what Tony Romo was saying on commentary is that Dak is working on his drop back now. Like, he's going for more of a Joe Montana drop back. He hits the back foot and comes straight out on his 5th step on the drop back. So, okay, I can understand the little bits of inaccuracy and stuff like that when you're working on new techniques and that kind of thing. But that read was just horrendous, like so bad. Look, I think Dak had a good game against a really good defense. The Jets are going to be a top 5 defense in the NFL this season. So I think Dak had a good enough game where, again, he just did exactly what was required of him to do. So I'm not going to shut on him too much for that. However, I do worry when we get to the 49ers, if he can take the step up. If he can take the step up, if we need him to go down, drive it down the field and win the game. However, the first drive of the game was a thing of beauty. That first drive of the game was stunning, mixing it up. Dak, short check down, run the ball. Dak runs the ball on 3rd down, then hits a deep target as well. I think we have enough on the offense there for me to be excited about. And we've scored 70 points in the first 2 weeks, so I'm not going to be too pissed off about anything.
No, I will say, you guys, in my opinion, looking through your schedule today, have 6 to 7 losses coming in that fucking schedule.
That's crazy.
And you're going to have you're going to lose 3, maybe 4 in a row coming up here after a couple weeks.
I just don't see that. I think our defense is so
NFL,
electric, and I think we just
my
have to
theory on the schedule. The NFL intentionally schedules the shittiest teams to play the Cowboys at the beginning of the year so that they look good and the media can go Cowboys, 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 and then they shit the bed.
I'm just looking at our schedule. So 49ers, I'm guessing you've got a loss there. Beating the Patriots.
Like a 4-game stretch where I could see you losing any of those 4 games.
Right. Okay. So we play the Patriots, right? A win, I would imagine. So we get the 49ers, then the Chargers, and then 49ers, Chargers. Is that the bye week that early? Yeah, week 7 bye. 49ers, Chargers, Rams, Eagles. Right, okay. Well, it gets a little harder, but then the Giants again.
Yeah, but those last 4 games you just mentioned, you could lose any of them.
Well, yes, but we could also like the Chargers. We've just spoke about how the Chargers aren't it because of their coaching situation.
It's not that you have to worry about. It's that their offensive coordinator is going to know how to play against your defense.
All right, okay, fair enough. I mean, also our defense knows how to play the offensive coordinator. In all preseason camps, the defense seems to win out every time in Dallas.
Well, that happens everywhere because it takes time for the offense to catch up in the preseason. But
and Dan Quinn, I trust Dan Quinn over Kellen Moore in that particular.
And I know
instance.
the Cowboys fans will get hate. I'll get hate for this. Your defense is good, but if you go through that Jets defense and the Cowboys defense, besides Micah Parsons, the Jets defense is better.
We conceded 10 points. Better. We conceded 10 points and they conceded 30 points.
Because the defense was on the fucking field the whole time.
But they conceded 30 points.
Because they didn't get to breathe. I mean, if they're on the field 70% of the game, what's gonna fucking happen?
Yeah,
if Aaron Rodgers is there, they don't have that. He eats the clock. He keeps the fucking defense resting. He gives them time because he understands football.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson didn't understand to eat that clock to give them breathing room. Like, besides Micah Parsons, if you go through the whole fucking level.
I think our defensive line is better than theirs.
I said your besides Micah Parsons.
D-Law, Micah Parsons.
After Micah, Quentin Williams is the next best one out of the two teams.
Look, I love D-Law. I love D-Law.
There's no way he's better than Quentin Williams.
I love D-Law.
I just love your head needs to go. Call in Al-Qaeda. Like, I see the curtain back there. That's
I love
the most
D-Law.
Homerist comment ever.
I just like also we held their run game. We held Breece Hall, who went for 127 yards the week before.
Because they didn't have to worry about the pass, and they can put 8 and 9 in the box. If Rodgers is there,
but they still held him to 9. Like,
but
9 is crazy.
There's more holes.
Well, Rodgers wasn't there. Wasn't there.
I'm saying.
But we're playing against Dak Prescott, who you seem to think is like this mid-level quarterback, which is fine to think that. I don't disagree with it.
One of the worst starting quarterbacks. Like,
is Zach Wilson 20 points worse than Dak Prescott in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know.
Well, Dak can win a playoff game. Zach will never win a playoff game.
Yeah. That's okay, because we have Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons is going to be the defensive player of the year.
Okay, I don't doubt that.
Some of the ways that he made the offensive line look was just silly. Like the on Sunday was just silly yesterday. It was wild. Some of the moves he was playing on.
Like the argument that like it doesn't matter that Rodgers wasn't there because Zach Wilson is crazy to me because
it does matter when we're comparing the defense, but it does matter when we're comparing the defenses, but also it doesn't matter because the Cowboys have beaten who they've put in front of them 70 points to 10, and both of the teams that they've beaten are 1-1.
Dude, it's gonna make it hurt so much more when the fucking landslide comes later on. You guys are excited.
I could see us losing to the 49ers. Don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, I could see us losing to the 49ers.
Chargers too.
I'll be hurt if we lose to the Chargers. I'll be very hurt. And I'd be hurt if we lose to the Bills as well.
You are going to lose to the Bills and twice to the Eagles. But
I think we'll play nicely against. I think we're a really good matchup for the Bills. I think we're just ready to pick off any of Josh Allen's hero throws. Although Josh Allen put them away on Sunday. Josh Allen played a really nice game management game on Sunday.
And your team has not played a receiving core quarterback combo yet like the Bills.
Oh, yeah. No, obviously not. But obviously Trayvon Diggs knows how to cover his brother. That's a given. Surely.
The older brother always makes the younger brother look foolish, right? Like, isn't that...
maybe not in my family.
I see... Before we move on to today's games, I seen Trayvon was out there on Instagram or Twitter trying to get Stefon Diggs over to the Cowboys because Stefon got into it with one of the media.
Just saying.
I don't think Stefon wants to be there anymore either.
Yeah,
I think he's also smart enough to know that if he tries to force himself out of a second team, he will look bad for the rest of his career.
Yeah, well, just come be a Cowboy. We take all the misfits. look fucking great as a Cowboy. That'd be exciting. But yeah, just one game before we move on to tonight's games as well. The Rams versus the 49ers. The Rams have definitely got more than what we thought they had. And McVay, two of the probably the best coach teams in the NFL, outside of maybe Mike McDaniel, but McVay and Kyle Shanahan going against each other was a really fun game to watch. I'm surprised that the 49ers were kept so close for so long. Like when Christian McCaffrey rips off that massive run down the sideline, you think, oh shit, this could be over pretty quickly. But the 49ers looked good and got business done, and the Rams looked good as well in keeping it close. So, yeah, and Matthew Stafford.
So you mean what I told you today, and I totally meant it, that I would take Brock Purdy over Dak Prescott?
You know that I don't hate that opinion. For me, Dak Prescott is game manager plus. So game manager, when he's at his best, this is what people need to understand, and especially Cowboys fans. Cowboys fans are the worst at understanding this. We don't want our quarterback to win us games. That's not where we are. If we can win games without our quarterback really having to do anything, that's a plus. That's a massive, massive plus.
Why didn't you cite Jimmy G for cheaper?
Because we got hamstrung into the Dak Prescott deal. You
should have traded Dak and signed Jimmy G this offseason.
Yeah. I just think that. But
okay, Dak is better than Jimmy G. Before
Dak
I
is
get
better than Jimmy. Dak's better than Jimmy G. Dak is also maybe slightly better than Brock Purdy. However, Brock Purdy has a much nicer contract and has, as you said, a ceiling that we don't know where it goes.
Yes, that's my thing. I'm not saying that Brock is better than Dak right now. I'm saying I know exactly what Dak is. Mm-hmm. And I know right now Brock Purdy's close enough and still has a higher ceiling. That was my argument. Yeah.
What I did like to see was that Dak Prescott used his legs a bit more this week. And when Dak Prescott uses his legs, that's when he's a bit more dangerous as a quarterback threat. Dak Prescott using his legs on man-to-man coverage on third down.
How old is Dak now?
29, maybe 30, maybe 30, 31.
Yeah, see, I thought he was a little older than that. That's why I was asking. I figured you would know better than I did.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's just make sure we get this right. But Brock Purdy looked decent. Like he looked good again. But again, just game manager plus the two of them. And you can say the same. He's 30, Dak Prescott. You can say the same for. Well, actually, it's not fair to say that about Kirk Cousins at the start of this season, because Kirk Cousins is kind of like the only reason that the Vikings have been in games, because your other players forget to hold on to the fucking
second in
football.
Passing yards.
Yeah.
And fourth in touchdowns or something.
Yeah. Already. So it's not fair to say that about Kirk this season, but that's the plus part. So for me, when you have Brock Purdy, the 49ers and the Cowboys are built very similarly. You have Brock Purdy, you have Dak Prescott, and you don't really want to be in your positions where your quarterback is winning you the game. What you want to do is, if it's third and long, and this happened twice in the Cowboys against the Jets game, and I saw Brock Purdy pull one off as well. But in third and long, does your quarterback have that plus to make the big play in that moment? And Dak Prescott often does have it. At points has not had it, but he has 2 playoff wins, so he must have it at points.
All right. Well, let's talk about some tonight's games, since we have 2. But I hate that they're just an hour.
Yeah, it's weird that they're an hour difference as well, not just at the same fucking time. But anyway,
and I still don't know why there's 2. I don't know what happened. That I decided to do this, or if something happened. Like, this fucking still weird to me. And I didn't even realize it until I started looking at the schedule this last week and went, oh, there's 2 Monday night games. Like, I never even realized it going in. So let's start with the Saints at the Panthers. We already made our picks yesterday, yesterday, which I think we both took the Saints, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that game for me is more of, I want to watch 2 quarterbacks play.
I really want to see, obviously, right, okay, just to caveat this, I need Michael Thomas to score 11.5 points to win fantasy football this week. So obviously I want to see Derek Carr have a good game for that reason, but also I just want to see what the Derek Carr Saints experiment is going to be, is what I would really like to see as well.
He looked good last week. That's why I want to see him this week.
Yeah, I would just want to make sure that that's still going well, because the Saints defense is legit. And also the NFC South looks like it's turning into a better division than what we expected it to be at the start of the season. Can Bryce Young play football at this level with this level of team that he's playing for as well? Like, how big of it? They don't have any wide receiver. Like, Adam Thielen is your number one wide receiver, is no help, like not helpful. And their offensive line is okay. And their defense is okay. Can Bryce Young overcome these issues? Let's find out. I would love to see that in tonight's game.
Yeah, and I'm just looking to see, like, is he making the right reads, that kind of thing, like how he looks in the pocket. I don't expect a ton from Carolina this year. I actually think they did an awful job with their fucking head coaching hire, because everybody can say what they want, but what has Frank Reich ever fucking done to get the praise? They're like, look what he did with Carson Wentz. Well, that must have been Doug Peterson, because when you had Carson in Indianapolis, that shit didn't look the same way. You know what I mean? Like, so...
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I'm fucking weird like this, but I can't trust somebody who doesn't swear sometimes.
Yeah, just a little shit, you know.
Like, every now and again. Like, give me something.
Yeah, just a little something. How can you play football and not just say fuck like every now and again?
He tells his players not to swear, and I'm like, you're in the NFL, bro. Like, I'm
Good
not
luck.
sure that's gonna happen.
Good luck with that one. Yeah. Yes. Can Bryce Young do what CJ Stroud is currently doing with the Texans? Can he do what CJ Stroud did with the Texans on Sunday, where CJ Stroud made a lot of the right reads, a lot of the right calls, and he doesn't have the team around him yet to go and score 30 odd points and that kind of thing. Bryce Young's in a similar situation, probably with maybe a worse team. Bryce Young also has a very different style of football to CJ Stroud as well, where Bryce Young can be the reason why you win a game, whereas CJ Stroud's ceiling is probably Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins when he's playing his lower seasons. That's where I get caught with
CJ, because I watched him in that national championship game take that fucking thing over against Georgia.
Again, that's game manager plus. Dak Prescott has had those games. I've seen it. Like Dak Prescott,
but what I'm saying is I watched CJ Stroud play great from the fucking pocket for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then in the national championship game, I saw him do it with his legs too. I was like, whoa. They might have something with CJ Stroud. They might have hit lightning in a bottle with him.
Yeah.
I'm not sold that his ceiling's as low as you think it is. This is what I'm saying.
I think high level Dak Prescott is CJ Stroud's ceiling. Like, there's points in the season where Dak Prescott
top is 5, or I could see him not panning out. Like, so,
I can see him being. I can see his ceiling being somewhere in between 5 and 10. But that's just in this like golden era of quarterback where we are, where you've got Mahomes, Burrow.
They keep saying that, but is it? So you go Mahomes, Burrow, Rodgers,
Herbert.
Is he elite?
Lawrence.
Is he not? You know, they're not winning playoff games, and so until they do that, I think we're overcrediting.
Yeah, I don't know. I also think if you look back to other eras of quarterback play, then you could easily have Kirk Cousins as top 5. Dak Prescott could.
There was a time when I was watching football growing up, and it was Elway, Marino, Favre, Young. Like, I could just keep, like, these guys are all Hall of Famers playing at the same time.
Yeah, remember, this era of football has also had, like, Patrick Mahomes is already a Hall of Famer. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. Joe Burrow, if he continues on this path, probably going into the Hall of Fame. Josh Allen has the talent where if Josh Allen chills the fuck out and just remembers that he doesn't need to be Superman all the fucking time, then could probably end up in the Hall of Fame as well. Trevor Lawrence.
He needs somebody from the Shanahan tree. That's what he fucking needs as a coach.
Yeah, that would be great for him. Or just Brian Daboll to get sick of Daniel Jones and just go back the other way. That would be ideal for him. But yeah, I do think we're in that. And also the era that you're referencing was 30 years ago now at this point.
Yeah, I'm just saying they
So
keep saying
you can have a golden era. Like
I don't know.
30
They're
years
like,
later.
I hear people go, it's the best era of quarterbacks. And I'm like, I don't know. They just throw it more. I'm
Yeah,
not sure it's the best era. Like, I think we're going there, but I don't think we've seen the most Hall of Famers playing at once. And that to me would be the golden era.
That would be the era that you're comparing it to, though, that 1980s era. That would be the era, right? Whereas
early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's early 90s is the 90s is a
Warren
fall
Moon,
off.
Randall Cunningham, like I just like more of them keep popping into my head. So I'm not sure that we're at the golden. That was just my whole thing, and not to shit on quarterbacks, but
yeah, the 90s I think is a dark age of quarterback play, and then the noughties is also. But I mean, in the noughties you've got Brady, Peyton Manning, so Eli, I guess, goes into that conversation as well.
Russell Wilson's going to be a Hall of Famer. He played in that era, even though he's still playing now.
Russell Wilson plays in this era.
But he still was playing then, too. Like,
yeah,
he won the Super Bowl while Peyton Manning was still in the league. You know what I mean? He beat Peyton Manning for it. Okay. Like,
yeah. We got what a tangent. That was a crazy tangent. And we're talking about Bryce Young, who like as much as hyped as he was, we're talking about Bryce Young and Derek Carr, and we've moved on to golden age of quarterback play. Yeah. But yeah, CJ Stroud I think can move maybe into the top 10. But if Bryce Young can do similar game management stuff this season and just show us that he's got that in his locker, then that'll be.
You don't think by time it's all said and done that there's a chance CJ Stroud could be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL?
I think being in the top 10 makes you one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think like that's where I think it's maybe where we get this golden age of
fall off after like 3 to 5 to the rest of them. I think there's a big fall off.
I don't know. I think if you're in the top 10, you're a quarterback that can win a game for your team, win a playoff game for your team.
I just think when you go from the top 3, 4, or 5, you could argue. I think there's a fall off after that. And I as much as I love Cousins, I don't think he's a top 5, even if let's just argue and say that the NFL players were right and he's 6, right? Like they did in the top 100. I think there's a big drop between those top 5 and Kirk.
So who's the top 5 then?
I think they voted Mahomes, Rodgers, Burrow.
Mahomes, Rodgers, Burrow.
Allen, and I think it was Herbert.
Herbert. Right, so 5. And then, is there a massive drop-off between Kirk Cousins and Herbert? Is there a huge drop-off between Kirk Cousins and Allen?
Vikings, you're looking at, because that dude's more athletic. He's more mobile. He's super accurate, too. I do think there is.
There's a big drop-off in talent, but is there a big drop-off on actual understanding and playing the game? So you have Herbert and Allen in there. Allen has lost his teams a decent amount of games now.
I agree, and I think that's coaching. So, like I said, if you put them on the Vikings or the Niners or that kind, I think it's
if you think it's coaching, I can understand where you come from. But I also think that a lot of these guys have had so much coaching for so.
And I think Herbert's is coaching for sure.
I think Herbert's might be stuff outside of him as well. Like it's such poor game management. It's not necessarily Herbert actually, because Herbert's still. I wouldn't say Herbert's lost his team many games, whereas Allen has lost his team games. But
right, but I would argue he's probably won them more. But I still think he gets a pass for a lot of the shit he does. Right?
Yeah.
Because just because I dunk on him at times doesn't mean I don't think he's amazing. I just think he gets a pass.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think Trevor Lawrence has the ability to be.
I do too.
I'm not sure who CJ Stroud passes in terms of those 6 that we've just spoken about. Okay, Rodgers retires from the league, and then you've got Mahomes.
I just meant by time he retires, I think he could be in the top 5.
So it depends, right? Okay, so I guess it depends. Yeah, I guess it depends who retires in that. But anyway, see, I just think being in the top 10 still counts as you're one of the best in the league. I don't think it's an insult.
Fair enough. We're just dropping it on different criteria. That's all.
Yeah, it's like when Purdy. It's like when Parsons said that Purdy was an above average quarterback, and everybody decided that meant a top 15 quarterback or something, and everybody decided that meant that Parsons was ranking Purdy at 15, which by the way still makes him above average because 16th is the middle point, so he's above average. But he said top 15. It doesn't have to be 15th. That's not where it has to be. It's just we
Right. It
don't
could
know
be
enough about
12.
Brock
It's
Purdy
just
yet.
he's like, he didn't go make a
Yeah.
fucking list. He gave you a
Yeah,
random,
yeah.
like, yes.
We know that Brock Purdy probably isn't in the top 10 consistently right now. And it's probably he's in that little bit where it's any week it can be all right. Kirk Cousins is playing really well at the minute, so he's probably top of that rung, that tier at the moment. But you have like Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Derek Carr, Matt Stafford, like that level of quarterback, and that's 6, like right there.
Right.
So
That's why I was saying, to me, there's a drop off between the top 5 we talked about and those 5 or 6.
Yeah, I also think that 6 though are probably very comparable to every other era. Like if you took anyone in those 6, they could be top in like a decent amount, not like top like number 1, but top 5 in any of their eras.
They say
apart
that
from that
growing,
1980s era.
But are they tough enough? That's the question. Are they?
Well, okay, yeah.
Cousins probably
it
that's
depends.
been blown up, so he probably is too. Are the rest of those guys tough enough to play in those eras too?
It depends on the era thing is a totally different conversation altogether.
I hate the era. Yeah, you can't talk eras. Like I do it with basketball and football. Like everybody's like Jordan's the best ever. I'm like Jordan's the best of his era. LeBron's the best of his era. Kobe was the best that like.
Yeah. You can't like you can't compare quarterback play in 1980 to quarterback play now. Like it's just not the same game.
Look at the hits Favre took in the 90s and never missed a game.
Yeah, it's not the same game. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think Dak Prescott would be totally fine playing in any era because the guy's a leader and like doesn't want to get hurt. Or the guys like Big Ben are able to play in any era. Would Patrick Mahomes be able to play in the other era though? Like he gets hurt quite often and doesn't get hit a lot of the time. So if he's then getting hit, is he then getting hurt more often? It's not that Mahomes wouldn't come back playing hurt. Like we all know that he'd probably get on the field playing hurt and would still play pretty well, but how often can he do that?
Well, he'd get a whole lot more vitamin T in the older eras too.
Yeah.
Like, here's some Toradol, buddy. Get out.
Shit, there. That would help as well. Maybe that would
big numb his whole fucking body, bro. Right. Get out there. So the game I need some help tonight. I'm leading, but I need Nick Chubb to help me close out this fantasy football game tonight. So it's the Browns versus the Steelers. I'm not sold on the Steelers at all. At all.
No, everybody's calling them the
losing season under Tomlin.
Yeah, they should have had a losing season last year. They should the last season teams fumbled it against them. Like then everybody's saying like the Steelers, they're a solid football team, but it's again this idea that like because you were this thing 2 seasons ago, that means you're this thing this season. No. In every other sport, that is how it works. But in the NFL, that's not how it works. You can go from worst to first, and you can go from first to worst very quickly. And the Steelers in their division are going first to worst over the past 2 years. I don't hate Kenny Pickett, but if Kenny Pickett was my quarterback, I'd be looking for other quarterbacks right now. He's like what everybody thought Brock Purdy would be. But Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, and Kenny Pickett was that quarterback class is horrific, by the way. Like, so bad. Kenny Pickett's quarterback class.
Personally, I don't know him, so it's not a personal shot. Do not like Kenny Pickett. Would not want him starting for my team, and I have zero faith in him.
Yeah, it's like I don't dislike his style of play, and I feel like he's also got Matt Canada as fucking offensive coordinator, which is basically a quarterback death sentence anyway.
Wasn't that his college coach too, though? From Pitt?
I don't think so.
I think Canada coached.
No, I'm pretty sure Canada was coaching Roethlisberger.
Who'd they bring over? They brought over the offensive coordinator from Pitt. Now I got.
Maybe they did. Maybe they've sacked Canada and have realized that.
I gotta look this up. So
but I do like Kenny Pickett. There's something about Kenny Pickett that I do just like, but it's not his talent, unfortunately. Which is awful. I think I quite like the fact that everybody was talking about how little his hands were and how he's not going to be able to throw the ball in cold conditions, even though he played in exactly the same stadium in college as he plays in now. So that makes no sense to anybody at all. I think he's probably a lower level starting quarterback in the NFL, but a probably better to be your backup. And I think he makes a good backup. I think he's a professional guy, and I think he can run an offense. I think he can 100% run an offense. Where the Steelers are weak is weapons are missing, offense is dull, and the defense, everybody sees them as the black and blue team with Pittsburgh Steelers, defense. Their defense has been blown up on many occasions in the past 2 years. It looks like you've got it, Jay.
Pitt, but it was 2016, so he did not coach him.
Right, okay. Yeah. What was the Steelers? Yeah, so the Steelers let up 30 points. I mean, that is against the 49ers, so we'll give them
the Steelers defense is always going to be good and keep you in
But this is what I'm saying. Is it going to be good? Do we know that? Do we know that it's going to be good? Like they conceded 30 points, and again, it's against the 49ers, so whatever.
I don't agree with this, but I want to put it out there. There was an argument on Pat McAfee this morning, and I actually heard this last week too. I have heard people say TJ Watt is better than Micah Parsons. So TJ, I don't agree with that, but that just shows TJ Watt is a monster, and like Micah, he can keep a whole defense together.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. TJ Watt is a monster, and I mean he was he ripped defensive player out of the year out of Micah Parsons' hands, which should have gone to Micah Parsons. Still should have gone to Micah Parsons. But TJ Watt is an excellent defensive player, and any team he's on is going to be half decent in pass rush and run blocking as well. But I don't subscribe to this view that the Pittsburgh Steelers are this solid team and they're going to be so difficult to beat. If the Pittsburgh Steelers get 6 wins this year, I'll be amazed.
Oh, 6. Okay.
6. Yeah. If they get 6 wins this year, I'll be impressed.
I think they have a losing season, but yeah, for me, it's Kenny Pickett though. I don't trust Kenny Pickett at all.
Yeah. And they have no weapons either. And yeah, Najee Harris is okay, but like, has Najee Harris shown the explosive runs as well? Like, I'm not really sure.
Like Pickens is a fucking stud receiver.
Oh, Pickens is a stud. Yeah, but all right, okay, sorry. One weapon. Pickens is a stud. Their offensive line is like again though. It's you look at the Steelers and you go, oh yeah, they have a great offensive line and a great defense, and you just think about other stuff. But actually, their offensive line hasn't played that well for a while, and the defense has holes. Like the defense definitely has holes. Let's see what the pressure rate was last week. But again, it's against the 49ers, so it's not. It just makes everything that I'm saying just reductive. Because obviously they're one of the best teams in the NFL. But the 49ers got 5 sacks last week on the Steelers O-line. They only got to 198 yards passing and 41 yards rushing. But again, against the 49ers, so it's not really fair. But yeah, and then obviously
on Najee Harris though. Like I like him, but I'm not told that he's what everybody thought he was going to be coming out of college.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this explosive nature of Najee Harris. Like I see, he's Ezekiel Elliott in Ezekiel Elliott's last 3 years.
Minnesota Vikings signed free agent guard Dalton Reisner.
All right, cool. You guys need offensive line help because they keep on getting injured, so it's not.
Well, and Ingram's awful. He's god awful. Just like dude, he was getting blown the fuck up off a snap. Like so, it's got to help. It's just the right guard is a really bad position for us, so it's got to help.
Definitely. So good signing for you guys. Going into tonight's game as well, thoughts on the Browns. I think we'll get a better idea of what the Browns are. There was just something about the game against the Bengals where I know they won 24-3 and their defense is just a complete monstrosity. Their defense is just horrible to look at. In the same way that the 49ers defense, the Cowboys defense, the Jets defense is. It's just, you just look at it and you just go, fuck, I don't really want to play against them. But what's their offense got? Let's have a look. I want to see another go, but there was something about that 24-3 win that I just still felt the offense was a bit rusty. But when you've got Nick Chubb and in the backfield that's gonna, no
And
matter what rush you have, just run the fucker.
it's how just, but see that defense too, like they're better than they've been before, because for the first 8 games, Zadarius Smith is healthy, and then he'll get injured, because that's what happens. He'll put up 10 sacks in the first 8 games and then get fucking injured. But
Yeah,
him and Chubb can blow up a whole scheme together, right? Like, and they got a good secondary. Like, that defense is fucking for real. So it's Coach Stefanski. What can you do with that offense? Because you were brought in to turn around Baker Mayfield, but yet you made him throw the ball 70 times a game while he was fucking injured. So, like, what are you doing to earn your keep? Like, it's Coach Stefanski's time to try to prove why he's there.
Again, when you've got a defense like this early on in the season, it's about not letting that rust that you've got lead to throwing interceptions, throwing games away while you're working your scheme out and everything like that. And then heading into the mid-season, you want your offense ticking at that point. So let's see what the Bears offense has got going into tonight's game.
Okay, and it does look like Amari Cooper is going to play.
Always a plus for any team. Absolute travesty that he's not a Cowboy still.
Isn't that so weird? Like, you guys didn't want to pay him $10 million, and then all of a sudden, fucking, you trade him, and wide receiver contracts go out the window, like skyrocket, and that looks like a deal.
Yeah, Amari Cooper on the current Cowboys wide receiver depth chart would look just fucking unbelievable as well, right? Like, CeeDee Lamb looked fucking. Also, didn't mention how great CeeDee Lamb looked against the Jets, especially against that Jets defense, looked fantastic. But
one reception against Sauce off of all of those fucking stats.
All right, well,
no, I'm just saying that shows how good Sauce is.
We all know that Sauce is fucking fantastic. So you move your wide receiver away.
What did he have? Like 143 or something?
Yeah, nearly 150. It was close to 150.
Fuck.
One reception. And that pick six was a throw to CeeDee Lamb. That close, what should have been a pick six, would have been a pick six if it was Trayvon Diggs. Was thrown towards CeeDee Lamb. Again, not saying that Trayvon Diggs is better than Sauce Gardner. I'm just saying in that particular instance, I would want to be Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs, it was probably a touchdown the other way.
Well, it's either a touchdown the other way or a pick six. So you just got to take the rough with the smooth,
Right.
It was Stephon Gilmore that got burnt for their only touchdown, but that's just because he's man-to-man with Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson's just fucking ran away from the old-timer Stephon Gilmore.
Zach Wilson would have had another touch, or Aaron Rodgers would have hit Wilson or Garrett Wilson for that touchdown.
For that interception,
Zach Wilson held that ball too long because he had dropped the corner. And the safety wasn't even supposed to be over there.
That was Trayvon Diggs. That was Trayvon Diggs, by the way, who got burnt at corner. Yeah. Thank fuck we've got decent safeties. You're allowed to be that. Trayvon Diggs can go and try and intercept whatever ball he wants. We've got safeties. We're fine. There would have been another touchdown where Trayvon Diggs got burnt as well, actually. But DeMarcus Lawrence got his hand to the ball as Zach Wilson was throwing it. So, yeah, not great, actually, thinking about that. But, yeah, sorry. I forgot what we were talking about now.
Oh, so that was 21-point swing if Rodgers was there, huh? Oh, just saying.
Amari Cooper on the Cowboys offense would be fantastic right now as well, because you would have Michael Gallup as your third option, because they wouldn't have brought in Brandon Cooks. But yeah,
I don't even know what Cooks is getting paid, but it's probably more than $10 million.
It's got to be more than $10 million. All right.
Well, there you have it. We got 2 games tonight. Everybody can be excited. More football. I'm kind of excited for this week to get over and see if the Vikings can fucking reset. So let's just get this week over and see if we can get a reset in there. I'm not positive, but I think we play the Chargers.
I have to look,
but I'm pretty sure the Vikings play the Chargers.
You're much better off being 2-0 now than you being 0-2 now than you ever have been. Yeah, Vikings play the Chargers. All right, and then we're going to review tonight's games, right? Tomorrow. Are we going to do it on Instagram Live? Is that what we're going to try and do?
Yep. Sorry, guys. I'm fucking tired today. I'm yawning up a storm.
I didn't realize that I was that boring, Jay. Even being
no, I was honest. Up till 3 a.m. and then had to get up for work. So don't worry about it. Yeah.
But yes, we're going to be reviewing the games on Instagram Live. So go follow us on Instagram over there, and also follow us on Rumble, and like and subscribe to our YouTube.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. We'll be back. I'm going to get this whole Instagram Live thing set up so we can go live with you guys tomorrow.
Exciting.
It'll be a good time.
First time.
Yes, should be exciting. All right. Well, thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.